When it comes down to who is a better Spartan, it's not just your career record, but who represents the values of what a true Spartan is. And if we use the Master Chief as our ideal Spartan, Spartan Thorne resides as the closest among the Spartan 4s. However, people don't really like the videos I've made on it. So let me explain. I have recently made 3 videos on Spartan Thorne, this will be the 4th and final one, all of which, except for this one of course, have caught Cammy Shep's attention, and all of which have had people ask him for the truth. Now, the original TikTok I was discussing was the best Spartan 4, which I argue is Thorne because he is the only known Spartan 4 to be recognized by Dr. Halsey as a real Spartan, simply because he shares the same psychological standards as the rest of the 2s.
Classified.
But the original Spartans were conscripted as children.
I did what was required.
But why children?
Why do you think?
Well, it could have given them an edge. Starting that young. Not knowing anything else.
There were many reasons behind the choices we had to make. Psychological and physiological.
Psychological. So you don't think we're capable of being Spartans?
Perhaps some of you are closer than others.
Now, Dr. Halsey basically says that although he isn't as strong as the 2s, he can be recognized as a Spartan like them because of his mentality, which isn't the same for other Spartan 4s. Now, before we continue this point, we must look at Thorne's insubordination issues. I mean, there's good reason to why Spartan 4s are so hated. Their behavior is more similar to that of ODSTs and blue-collar men, rather than the stoic giga-chads that are the Spartan 2s. Now, 343 Industries knew that when designing them, which is why Dr. Halsey suggests that Spartan 4s are not Spartans because of said character flaws. And I mean, look at Sarah Palmer. Yeah, she's hot and one of the most decorated Spartans when it comes to career record. She's even the commander of all Spartan fire teams on Infinity. But she has serious character flaws such as arrogance and aggression that blind her, even failing missions due to her own hubris. And I mean, Palmer's first introduction in Halo 4, she came across as arrogant and disrespectful towards the Master Chief, one of the main reasons why people hate her. So this is a main reason why I argue out of all Spartan 4s, Thorne is the most Spartan out of them all. However, people's disdain for Spartan 4s blind them from truly seeing the truth of a character when even like this commenter is stating that Spartan Thorne has an issue with insubordination, which is just completely incorrect and extremely biased. Thorne has never been really insubordinate, however he has questioned or deviated from orders following his instinct. Notably in Halo Escalation, Thorne occasionally acts on instinct and makes decisions in the field without waiting for direct approval, especially in missions involving an Oni presence. In Spartan Ops, Thorne is shown to ignore DeMarco's orders even though they were arrogantly wrong, due to him being more of an independent-minded and creatively thinking individual. This character trait was also what made him take over as fireteam leader over DeMarco less than a month after Thorne became a Spartan. However, Thorne is also extremely empathetic, especially towards Halsey, which in no way is a trait of insubordination, and throughout Spartan Ops, Thorne generally still follows the command structure. Now, this take is very hypocritical because the Master Chief has a longer list of quote-unquote insubordinations, which in the end of the day are very similar to Thorne's. In Halo 2, Master Chief attacked Regret earlier than he was supposed to instead of waiting for backup because he saw the opportunity to complete the mission and execute the Covenant Prophet before he is able to retreat and escape. In Halo 4, Master Chief refused to give up Cortana to Captain Del Rio and refused to leave Requiem. This act of loyalty towards Cortana and instinct to complete the mission and stop the Didact would prove as the right thing to do, as with the rampant Cortana's help, he would eventually be able to stop the Didact before he composed all of humanity, and Captain Del Rio would be stripped of his captainhood of the UNSC Infinity. And obviously, Halo 5. Both characters are slightly insubordinate, but all the acts of insubordination prove to be the right choice. Now, as I've mentioned and have been arguing, Thorne stands out among his fellow Spartan 4s because his character traits and mindset more so align closer to the Spartan 2 and 3 image of what it is to be a Spartan. First off, Thorne has a duty-first mentality. meaning that he shows a deep sense of duty and responsibility, no doubt correlated to his early enlistment into the army at 16 years old, which correlates to the mentality of Spartan IIs who also have a deep ambition to complete the mission, putting the protection of humanity first over personal ambitions, which is something many Spartan IVs don't embody. Thorne is also extremely brave. However, he isn't flashy like other Spartan IVs, not seeking recognition for his acts, which is also a trait of Spartan IIs, who are more known for their quiet professionalism, as they do the impossible without expecting medals. Even the Master Chief was rejecting a promotion to Admiral because it was more beneficial to humanity for him to be fighting on the ground. Now Thorne, he echoes that quiet valor, which isn't something every Spartan 4 does, especially DeMarco, who shows more ego and concern with rank. Additionally, it has been stated in lore that Master Chief finds this hero archetype of himself and glorification a little bit uncomfortable, which I think is fair. Thorne is also very independent and loyal to the UNSC. Even if he questions Oni's motives, this is a similar trait that Master Chief has, by the way, who also questions Oni. However, they both never abandon humanity. And Thorne strikes a good balance. He's not blindly obedient, but he's also not rebellious and a chaos maker like other Spartan 4s. He quickly adapts to pressure, highlighting his superior mental fortitude, and throughout Spartan Ops, he shows many leadership qualities and qualities that are followed through with Halo escalation. Now, while many Spartan 4s have the training and experience, few show that kind of innate combat instinct and emotional control that Thorne demonstrates. He doesn't just survive through difficult situations, he thrives, a quality trait that Blue Team has expressed under stress many times. Now, there is one core Spartan trait that is held tightly to the identity of a Spartan. Whether you are a fan of Kurt, Sam, Noble Team, or like all of the Spartan 3s, it's the willingness to make a sacrifice. Now, Thorne repeatedly puts himself at risk, which although may seem like he's getting captured like an idiot, he does it for the greater good. Not an easy trait for your average human adult, and it's not really an easy trait for them to be ready for. Many Spartan 4s are former Marines or ODSTs, and unfortunately, many of them just aren't built for that level of sacrifice. Thorne, however, very clearly is. Which is why I have been arguing Thorne is the closest Spartan 4 to a true Spartan. It's because he lives by the same code that Spartan 2s do, whether they know it or not. And his entire explanation is easily broken down by Dr. Halsey's comment in Halo 4. But I had a comment on the video that is just one of those comments where you know it isn't rage bait, but it is just very much wrong. And I looked at this comment and remembered how zealous Cammy Shep fans can be, and related that to a video Cammy Shep had where he talked about Horvath being his favorite, and I incorrectly deduced that this insane take's only reason to exist was because Cammy Shep said his favorite Spartan was Horvath, so a bunch of copycat people started saying that Horvath was the best Spartan 4. So I teased it a little bit, which unfortunately over text it may not seem like teasing and more so aggressive or just a really weird thing, which I do apologize for, not really the message I want to get across. But I did follow up with a totally non-biased comparison between Horvath and Thorne. I explained my points, but I did exaggerate on other points, but the entire point was to show that Thorne was just better, and even if I rated it fairly, Thorne would win, and really more so just a meme video rather than anything, and nothing really to take too seriously. But Cammy Shep was then summoned again, where all he said was cherry picking, which I'm not going to disagree, but also don't fully agree. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was just a meme video, so I mean, it's not a serious video to really care about. But I made another video on the topic, one to actually stand more logically and analytically about my reasoning that Thorne is the best Spartan 4. And mind you, it's not best Spartan 4 as in the best Spartan 4 because he's my favorite, but the best Spartan 4 because he holds the principles of what a Spartan should be and represents that well within the Spartan 4 category. Now, Cammy has also replied to this video saying it's not accurate at all, which I am very offended because I did do my research. But here I am, because I guess I have to be more accurate than that. Now, what we do know about Horvath is that he struggles with upholding the title of Spartan. Now, trust me, he is a very likable character, but he still illustrates the flaws and cracks of the Spartan 4 system. Although you could argue it's fair that Horvath was overwhelmed by the Banished occupation on Zeta Halo, because I mean, who wouldn't, I'd argue the Master Chief in literally any other Spartan too. Horvath is smart. He, however, attempts in leadership aren't as good as a true Spartan. again as he cracks under the overwhelming pressure the banished occupation put on him. This does not mean he is a horrible character either though. Horvath genuinely wants to live up to the Spartan he should be, but doubts his own worth and decisions. This loss of composure and deterioration of his mental state unfortunately has the effect of Marines losing confidence in him. But let's be fair, Horvath is intentionally written as a contrast to the Master Chief to further imply that Spartan 2s are truly built differently and there is no other hope like the hope the Master Chief can bring. However, Horvath still portrays Spartan qualities that are exemplified, like his resilience against all odds, enduring extreme isolation and injury, surviving only because of scavenging supplies, hunting wildlife, evading banishment patrols, and his augmentations and armor, which did a large play in keeping him alive. Horvath shows great compassion and respect for human dignity, respecting Kate Stalling's request for a dignified death, and even honors her by burying her body overlooking a serene body of water, vowing to complete her mission, and that he does, which also shows his commitment to the greater mission and his dedication to protecting humanity. But let's look at some other popular Spartan 4s. There's Buck, and he represents a very different type of soldier that Thorne represents. Buck acts like an ODST, which instantly is a telltale sign that he's not the Spartan 4 that reflects the Spartan legacy like the Master Chief, but he's humorous, charismatic. He isn't as quiet or emotionally controlled. He's also pretty vocal on how being a Spartan isn't really for him. And for the same reasons, Thorne is closer to the Spartan legacy, Buck isn't. He's still just a humorous ODST. Palmer is the commander of all Spartan 4 fire teams on Infinity and intended to be the flagship Spartan 4. But her tendency of arrogance and aggression blind her, especially in regards to her hatred for Halsey, failing missions due to her own hubris. Additionally, she leads with ego, sarcasm, and blunt force, which is very unlike the lead-by-example Spartan 2s. Palmer reflects the militarized political Spartan 4 vision rather than the self-sacrificing protectors they were always meant to be. Now, I've also heard Spartan Kodiak. One guy keeps saying Spartan Kodiak, Spartan Kodiak, Spartan Kodiak. And for those who don't know who he is, he was seen in the book Hunters in the Dark. And his vitriol for Sangheili is a main part of his character. And comparing that to Grey Team in Halo Empty Throne, they literally nuked an entire Sangheili planet before they realized that humanity had ended the war and they made a truce. And right after that, they worked with the Sangheili no problem, even being better allies to the Swords of Sanghelios than some of their own warriors. Kodiak needs to get a hold of his emotions. He needs to get a hold of the discipline, unity, and even quit challenging decisions on missions, which he clearly has a very clear bias against his own allies. And unfortunately, Frank Kodiak is just a strong guy with a chip on his shoulder, more symbolized as a difficult teammate rather than a representative for the best Spartan 4 or the Spartan legacy. Now, Rubicon Protocol illustrates the gritty test of metal and bone Spartan 4s had to endure under the extreme pressure of the banished occupation on Zeta Halo. Horvath, Kovan, and Bonita Stone are all great examples of courage and humanity, but they all still struggle to live up to the expectations of a Spartan 2, which, mind you, is the entire point of Rubicon and Infinite's portrayal of Spartan 4s. They are human. They are way more human, but they are less Spartan, which is a thing that Halo 4 and 5 were trying to tackle, where Master Chief is more Spartan and less human. Now, because of such reasons, they are not the best Spartans. This is also why many Halo fans hate Spartan 4s. They don't represent the same qualities of character that a Spartan 2 or 3 ever did. Now, back to Spartan Thorne. I've discussed how he is the most ideal Spartan 4 as he upholds that Spartan legacy better than the rest of the 4s, but he still deviates from that archetype. Thorne does not suppress his emotions as much as other 2s or 3s do, and this is because, actually, believe it or not, he wasn't a child soldier and never developed sociopathic tendencies. He's empathetically and emotionally more open, visibly affected by civilian casualties and the suffering of others. He truly speaks from his heart, showing guilt and compassion, which allows him to have a more relatable human presence. Thorne isn't as mythic and legendary as Spartan 2s, which is a problem, so, other than being a Spartan, he doesn't inspire or intimidate much. And he's still a very young Spartan, still lacking in a battlefield legend like the Master Chief, Blue Team, or any other Spartan 2 and many Spartan 3s like Noble Team. Gabriel Thorne stands as the closest embodiment to the original Spartan legacy among his fellow Spartan force. He's disciplined, composed, and mission-focused, yet also uniquely human, a trait that the Master Chief even struggles with to this day. Unlike his peers, Thorne isn't hindered by ego, emotional instability, or detachment. He actually reflects the silent strength of the Spartan 2s while retaining empathy and moral clarity. These shortcomings of his, being emotional openness, lack of mythic intimidation, and strong humanity, aren't flaws per se, but signs of evolution. They make him not just a successor to the legacy, but its transformation. Thorne is the spiritual successor and future evolution to said Spartan legacy.
There were many reasons behind the choices we had to make. Psychological and physiological.
Psychological. So you don't think we're capable of being Spartans?
Perhaps some of you are closer than others.
Thank you.